Hello, good day everyone. Welcome to my channel. In the next couple of videos, we are going to be exploring the API management service on Microsoft Azure. So this API management service is like the API dog of Azure. So it helps you to manage your APIs. It helps you to configure your APIs. It also helps you to build your APIs. Let me share my screen. So as you are well aware, before we can do anything, we need to have a very simple API working. And we have an API that we've been using in some of my previous videos, a very simple one that we'll be using as a boilerplate to understand the capabilities of the API management service. This is a simple API that, let me go to my model. You can see the fields that we have. We have ID, name, and rating. And if I should go over to my course service, you can see that there's a storage account that is acting as the storage source for the API. So whatever interaction is coming from the controller is updating what we have in the storage account or fetching data from the storage account. And we have the connection string from the storage account as well. I believe we've already, in some of our last videos, we already saw how we can connect a .NET application to a storage account. And this particular project, it was created with, I think, yeah, it was created with .NET Core empty, .NET Core empty. But if you like, you can also create the web API. You can use the web API template. Most important thing is that you should have your controller, your model, your service, and you'll be good to go. And this was also updated to version to .NET 8 .NET 8 long-term support. So you can see we have just our program.cs. Yeah, yeah, you can see the program.cs. We've already gone through all these bits. Let me just allow us see it again. So this is the service that over here we are getting all the courses in our storage account. Then we are also we also have the capability to add a new course as well from to that same storage account. I already spoke about the models. Then in the controller, we have our routes over here. You can see the URL that is required for to fetch data /API/course. And also it's also the same URL that is required to add courses to the storage account. I already published this to an Azure web app. So rather than running it from here, I can also run it from my from the internet through the URL provided by the web app. Okay, so this is just a simple overview of our API. I believe it's straightforward. If it's not straightforward, then you should probably go back to our previous videos where we spoke about how this was built and how to go about this. So let me share my Postman. Okay, so I believe you can see my Postman now. So before I work with the post request, let me just quickly look at get request, and this is the URL. So let's assume we want to send a get request to fetch the data in our from the storage account. So I can click on send. We have our data. So just take note of the last one here. The last one is on virtual reality. So now let's go to send a post request. And this time around, I'll be changing this to and let me call these big data or data science. Let me call it data science. Let me give the rating 3.8. And all you need to do, you need to ensure it's on JSON, the body raw JSON. Ensure the URL has /API/course. So what we'll do now is let me send this request and ensure it's a post request because we want to update, we want to send data to the storage account. And we can see added. So if I should go back over here and run this one more time, hopefully we'll see the data science at the end. So we can see it is truly updated. Okay. So I just wanted to show you that the API is actually working and it's running as it should. So now let's go to the main reason why we have this video, which is the API management service on Azure. So I'm going to my Azure portal now. Okay, so I'm in my Azure portal now. One thing I would say is that for you to get started with API management service, all you need to do is just search for API management from here, and this is it over here. You click on this, and when you click over here, you would have this window opened, and you can click to create an API management service. Then you give it a name, your resource group, your region, and you scroll down, organization name, blah, blah, blah. And you can choose the pricing tier, depends on what you require. So if you are just testing, you can go for the developer. Yeah. But in our case, I already have one created, so there's no point creating another one. So after creating it, and you click to open, you will have something like this. It will start with the overview page. So what you need to do is you need to come over to APIs and you can add some configuration around your APIs. So for you to start, if you want to add a new API, so I already added an API for the project that we just saw. So that add the web app URL. But if you want to add a new one, you can just click on HTTP. Most of your APIs will likely be HTTP, or if you are working with a React or something and you are using GraphQL, you might also be utilizing this. You can also create from definition, and we have a couple of them here. But in our case, it's HTTP API. So you click on this, and under display name, you can give it anything that you want. Then the name will be pre-filled for you. Then the web service URL is where you enter the URL for your web app. So in our case, I would have entered this. This was what I entered, because this is the URL for our web app that we published the API from Visual Studio into. So that's our web service URL. API URL suffix. So you don't need to fill this. The base URL is what okay, so for our web service URL, you can remove this. You can just use the usual URL, the URL without any parameter, because when we're adding endpoint to the API, we can then add that parameter for a GET request. Then this is the base URL. This base URL is what you are going to be using what the API management service is going to be using to access your API. So with this, you can click to create and you'll be good. But if you want more information, you can click on full. So let me just cancel because we already have one here. So I click on this. So we can see we can add operation. I already added operation for get requests. So if you want to add an operation, you can just come over here, click to add an operation, then the same display name, the other name, type of request. In our case, it's a get, it could be a post as well. Then slash the resource. So this is where you are now going to add the API slash course. Then you can add a description if you so desire. Then you save. That's all. Then you save. And you will have it listed here. So let me discard. So now let's click on this. You can also clone an existing operation. So let me click on this. You can see we have API slash course here. If you like, you can also modify this. We are still going to look at how you can add policies to your API, which is very interesting, and we'll see how that will impact our API. So this is just like the APIDog of Azure. It has a lot of capabilities, and we'll be seeing all of those very soon. I'm really glad I'm covering this. So if you want to test that your API is working, you can come over here to test. So we want to test this operation that we've added. Come over here to test. Then you scroll down just to confirm your endpoint. You can see the request URL. You can see that this URL we are seeing here is different from the original backend URL, and that's because the request is being done through the API management service. So you can click on send. You can click on send. So let me copy this because I want to show something. Let me copy this. I'll copy this. Okay, let me click on send. Now we are using this URL. So if you scroll down, you will see that you can still see the data, even the most recent information. You can see data science, which we added, virtual reality as well. Okay, so it's working. So now I want to do something. So you can see that this is our original web app URL. It has access to the storage account and we can get data. Now let's now paste this API, the API management service URL that we had. Let's see if we can also get the same data that we saw as well. So let me send. And we are seeing a 401 error, access denied due to missing subscription key. Make sure you include a subscription key when making requests to an API. However, it worked within Azure service, but via our browser, we cannot use it. And because our video is getting long, we are going to resolve this issue in our next video. And you'll see how we can resolve this issue. Okay, so we are going to look at policies as well as how we can add a subscription key to our API. Okay, so I hope that you can now see the relevance of API management service and how you can get started with this service on Azure. Have a wonderful day.